Yeah, listen to me. Um, Somebody brought to my attention about the 13-year-old that was unalived by a relative. And I watched some of the court proceedings and the fiance that was engaged and that had kids and the grandmama that took the young lady in and the aunt. Let me tell y'all something. We live in households and we are aware of a lot of things. Mothers, let me be explicitly clear, and I'm definitely talking to you. Stop taking any kind of riffraff in your house. Stop doing that. Grandmothers and aunties, if you're not going to love the child 100+%, leave the child where it's at. Because most of the time, from my understanding, the young lady's mother was on drugs, right? And the grandmother took this child in, and you mean to tell me this child is 5 months pregnant and nobody have no idea, and she's showing, and she is a 13-year-old? Ladies who call yourself mothers, and I just call you the person that carries the child, because real mothers do not allow anybody to hurt their children. Real mothers do not put their children in harm's way. Grandmothers do not put their grandkids in harm's way. Now, a life is gone because of grown folks. We talk about the R. Kellys, but some of us regular folks are worse than R. Kelly. You understand what I'm saying? We are aware of a lot of things, and we take in men just for the sake of saying, I have a man. What is wrong with your confidence? What is wrong with your self-esteem? What is wrong with you for recognizing who you are as an individual? When you can sleep at night knowing that a child is being abused and misused. What's wrong with you? And you are seemingly okay with it. We want to jump in on the stories about people that are in the limelight, such as your actors and your actresses, right? And we want to condemn them for their actions. But we have uncles, we have aunties, we have cousins, we have siblings, we have grandfathers and grandmothers, even fathers and mothers who do the very same thing. But them are the very ones that we cover. Them are the very ones that we know that they're doing something wrong, and we want to make the wrong a right. I'm going to say this. God talks about harming his babies. And payday for anybody who does anything that is so ungodly to a child, you need to be thrown up, not in the jail, but up under the jail. And then the person who lives in the household and is very much so aware of what is transpiring with the child, they need to lock you up too. It goes back to what I said in my other videos. The things that we should be concerned about, we're not. The TikTok ban is not a thing that we really should be focusing on. What about school shootings? What about the expensive cost of rent? What about the high cost of food? What about people in California that the insurance agencies are trying to get over on? What about pre-existing conditions? What about malpractice being happened? What about sex trafficking? What about abuse? What about addiction? What about alcoholism? What about mental problems? People mentally disturbed. What about that? We waste our money on things that has no substance and no value. And the things that we should spend our money on, we don't. There are women who got rape kits still sitting on the shelf that has not been touched, but yet we want to go in for a TikTok ban. Make it make sense to me, because it really don't add up. The math ain't mathing. And I'm really having a problem with this. It just ain't mathing. So ladies, I'm going to give you a 411. You need to make it your 911. You are the steward over your children. And for you allow any type of behavior, somebody to touch your kids, somebody to violate your kids, somebody to talk to your child any kind of way, somebody not to feed your child, and you still want to keep that person in your presence. And for women who want to marry these type of individuals because they look handsome and everything, baby, everything look good to you ain't good for you. Let me tell you that. This is your wake-up call. We need to do better. We need to be so much better than what we are. Put some value in yourself. Get some self-esteem about yourself. This is ridiculous. That child life is lost for no reason. And the person that took guardianship of her should be punished as well. Not just the man, but anybody that partake in that. Everybody was so heavy on R. Kelly. You're heavy on Diddy. Be heavy on your uncles and your aunts and your cousins and your nephews and your nieces and your babysitters and your mothers and your fathers and your grandparents and friends. Be heavy on that too. And it's what happens in this house stays in the house. No, it don't. Now when it come down to violating a child, it does not. It does not. We got our priorities all crossed up. And this is why we're in the situation we in. Because God ain't pleased. He ain't pleased at all. And I'm not happy about it neither. Because there are women out here who would love to have kids and they can't. And we out here misusing babies. And think it's okay. And I don't know how you can sleep at night. So God, I say, any grown person that calls themselves grown, that does anything to any child, whether they're a baby all the way up, don't let them rest. Make their life uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. The people that goes along with it make their lives uncomfortable too, very uncomfortable. And from my lips to God's ears, I hope and pray that he makes your life very uncomfortable. Hear me.